The upcoming speed event, they're going to do 3 timed obstacle courses in varying lengths. The first one's going to be the shortest, second one slightly longer, the third one longer than that.
That third course is brutal. Watching those qualifying runs, it's really interesting to see how they use such a diverse amount of movements. There's not a lot of qualifications as far as where they have to go or how they have to do it. All they have are right and left flags. Now, the athletes come out of the starting zone, they're crossing a laser timer, and then basically red flags, they have to pass across their right shoulder, yellow flags across their left shoulder. That's it. They can go anywhere throughout the gym, choose any path, use any movement they want. It's up to them to find the best path for their skill set.
Again, that's one of those great philosophies coming out of this course. They built it so that there's the least amount of restrictions possible. Hell, you could go take a lap around the gym and then cross the checkpoint if you want. All you have to do is go between the start, go hit the end gate, and make sure you hit all those checkpoints.
Yeah, I think one of the things I love most about the speed courses is that there's so little judging to be done. It's very clear who's coming out on top here, and it's the athlete who gets where they need to be the fastest.
And there's no mucking about with 2 timers going on average. We've got laser timers here tonight, so those are on the hundredths of seconds.
It's really awesome to see because so many of these courses, athletes are coming in within 100th of a second. Every single time we're seeing top scores in the 10-second race, in the 20-second race, they're still within a second for the top 3 or 4 positions.
And again, I remember looking at the qualifiers for the last one. There are so many times within tenths and within hundredths of a second of each other. I remember seeing one for, I think, 20.52 and 20.57. That's how tight we're getting on the variance here. So even with laser timers, we're still seeing people just manage to inch by, and that's what's so cool about this sport.
Yeah, and I think, you know, that's when it really comes down to how an athlete thinks about these courses. Because physically you can move just as fast, or you have the abilities, you know the place you have to go. Every single turn you make, every hand placement, foot placement, every inch makes a difference. And these athletes have to stay in that zone. And it is amazing to watch.
Definitely.
All right, so we're back. It's me, Frosty Fresh, here with my co-commentator, Derek Chang. And I hope you all had a nice, quick intermission. We're about to get started with the speed course. There was some minor discussion over the skill challenge, and specifically the scoring on the strides between Mich and Dillon's last run. It's very tricky to score these runs because they're so unique. Each athlete has their own style, but it's a matter of not only what is the most difficult, but also what has that level of execution that really pulls it through. So the judges are reviewing the tapes before they make their final judgment. They want to make sure this is as fair as possible. So luckily everything is covered on multiple cameras. So we're going in, checking it out, reviewing that, and they're going to make their final decision before they announce the winner of the skill course. With that being said, moving into the speed courses, you're going to see a lot of those same athletes. Again, Mich Todorovic, one of the favorites to win. He qualified first. He's representing Canada from Montreal, Quebec. This guy has been tearing it up here in the Canadian scene for the last few years, really growing as an athlete, showing off his skills. He's known for his explosive power, for having really athletic style, able to generate a ton of power, using that size to his advantage. If you ask him, he says it's all genetics. What do you think?
Not just genetics, it's going to be a perfect combination. Yeah, his mental is somewhere else as well. He's really dedicated as well. He puts everything into his training. I know a lot about his attitude, is that he looks at himself like he's on a scale of Olympic athlete. That's what he wants to aim for. He wants to eat clean. He wants to take care of his body every waking moment, as well as every resting moment. And he's like putting everything into his training. And he's not shy to go outside either. He does big videos and big stuff outside. He's not just training in a perfect environment. He's doing his sport.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the most unique things about this sport is that you're seeing athletes who are competing at an Olympic style level, like you would see gymnasts or track and field, but it's not about being in the perfect environment, because a huge factor of this sport is that you have to be able to adapt. And I think when you're looking at athletes like Dylan Baker, Brandon Douglas, they're training at Apex Movement in Colorado. they have the opportunity to be in a place that has all those different environments. It's a very similar style gym to this one. It's got a lot of hard surfaces in there, so they're really at home, and you can see that comfort level as they're moving around them. I think with athletes like Darryl Stingley and Jesse LaFlair, training at the Tempest Freerunning Academy is a huge advantage, especially when you're looking at the style courses here. So I think in that environment, you're going to see a lot of the Tempest athletes getting a really big advantage because of their background. And here in the speed, I'm really looking for a lot of things from Mich, Dillon, Brandon, but Jesse LaFlair, 4th place last year, qualified 4th again. He's got a lot to prove.
And I'm really excited to see that because Corey DeMeyer's mostly doing something. He's always trying to do something personal, trying to do something for him. He's trying to be creative with his moves. And like you said, it's reflective of the environment that they're raised in. And it's cool to see someone who's like able to express himself safely in that sort of environment. Like, hey, he's gonna do stuff aerial, like in the air. That's totally different from what you normally see.
Oh, absolutely. Corey's air forms, body positions are very unique to his style. The team up of him and Jesse that we saw last year in the Seattle Summit was such an amazing pairing. I think they both have such unique styles and they flow together so well. They're definitely huge favorites to win here. And I also know that after last year's freestyle competition here at the NAPC, Corey came in 2nd with a teammate, Lucy Romberg, also Team Tempest. They're heavily favored, but they had to go up against Young LaRue and Joey Adrian, which became Team All-In, that is now in the 2nd place spot, qualifying right behind Corey and Jesse, moving into this freestyle event. But right now we're still in speed, and I'm very excited to see what's going on here. We do have a few competitors that we didn't see in the skill round. Dillon Gates, like we mentioned earlier, from San Antonio, Texas. He's representing Parkour SA with his teammate Jeremy Sanders, who's also going to be competing in freestyle. Yeah, and as well, I think other than that, it's just Jesse LaFlair, who's definitely one of my favorites to come into that podium position. I'm going to be really interested to see if he can get up to Dillon and Mich's level, because this is their skill. But each of these courses is different. And when an athlete like Jesse comes into this, you know, he's competed at Ninja Warrior, he's competed at Tempest Games, he's competed here, he's been on the circuit, and he's traveled all over. He's really good at switching up his style. He'll do whatever it takes to win. He's a competitor at the end of the day.
And well, what's about the format of this, all the times are going to be scaled forward. So there's going to be 3 courses, each of them longer than the last. They're going to be scaled up so that they're all on a more equal playing field. So this will be a little more fair to people that are really good at the short courses or really good at the long courses.
Absolutely. And, you know, I'm really looking forward to seeing how athletes are placing in the first run, which is only about a 10-second course, as opposed to that last course, which is a brutal 20 to 25 seconds. Turns, changes, heights, they've got really small gaps to get through in addition to things at height. So they're going to have to be ready to go, being able to change up their style as
a wide amount of skills that are required to traverse this course. Not only are you doing, like you said, smaller things, because they're going to have to go through some of those windows later, but also the big strides that you saw earlier as well. So what may have been good for you earlier in the stride challenge may not be good for you unless you can find a way to adapt or deal with it later on.
I absolutely agree. It looks like they're calling everyone back to their positions now, so I think we're about to get started on this speed course. Looks like Dillon Gates will be up first. I know that Dillon's been training a lot on his speed. He's been in this gym for the last few days, really focusing. I find him a very smooth style. Talking to him and watching him train, it's all about being smooth. The whole community in Texas is all about having a really old school style, being really smooth, really fluid, making it seem like it almost doesn't take any effort at all. But I guarantee you, these guys are working hard.
And one of the things about Dillon Gates as well is he thinks really well on his feet, and I think that's why he was the one that had to come out of San Antonio, because he thinks really well on his feet. There are things that went wrong just slightly during the qualifiers, like his foot almost missed something coming up, but he was able to deal with it and go even faster. So normally when people would choke and try to be like, oh no, like thinking about that last thing that went wrong, he's still going and focusing on the course ahead.
I remember Dillon coming up over this tower here during one of the speed courses and having to adapt his run. But after that, I think other athletes like Joey even copied that move right after because he saw how fast it was that Dillon did. So something that started off as a mistake became a strategy.
And coming up, you may see, as you look out on the course here, we've moved the two 40-inch walls. They're going to be parallel to each other right in that jungle gym you see ahead of you.
First course starting off here on the big tower in the middle. Athletes have a really tricky jump to start off with over to that first red flag, which again means that they have to pass it against their right shoulder, and then they're making their way all the way over to the mezzanine level. They have options of going the high route or the low route. We saw both in the qualifiers. You know, Jesse was taking the low route, able to get almost the exact same time as Brandon, who took the high route.
That was incredibly impressive. That was something I wanted to comment on. Again, like I said, when I was seeing someone who's really relaxed when they're doing their speed run, I was thinking of Jesse LaFlair. He had a really fast sub 7-second time, and he chose not to do the high line, which is typically, when you're running a course, the fastest way to do it. He managed to pull through on a really fast time, take the low line, look relaxed, come out on top.
Yeah, I think Jesse's gonna have to really decide if he can push that strategy to a fast enough time to get into that top 3 position, or if he's gonna have to switch it up, change to going on top. I see him climbing up on the rails now. I know he's been testing him out. It's a tough call. I mean, you're gonna really have to change your entire strategy to move over to the side and take it up from the top instead of going underneath.
And that's just one of those things. Just because you can do it, when you're applying it with pressure and at speed, totally different game.
Absolutely. And I think that right now, you know, you've got athletes like Mich Dillon that were choosing the high line from the beginning. They're probably going to want to stick with that route because they're comfortable up on those rails, moving their way through. You can see there's a big difference even in the amount of steps that some of these guys have to take. The taller guys like Mich Dillon can make those strides look easy. They're using the size to sort of tic-tac off, keeping their balance going, whereas some of the smaller guys have to take that longer, more steps in between, slowing themselves down. It's all about comfort.
Part of that's really important as an athlete for you to train. You want to be able to bring your operational speed as high and as close to your max speed as possible, because it doesn't matter if you feel like you can do this really huge rail precision. If you can't get close to doing it at speed, it won't be applicable in cases like this in a competition or when you're trying to just run a course really fast.
I think, you know, at its very base, this is what parkour is all about. It's about getting yourself where you need to go quickly and at the end of the day, safely. Because if you know, we saw a lot of people really trying to push it during the qualifiers, and the ones who weren't confident in those precisions, not just on the rails, but in each step they made, they're the ones who are not here today, and they're not going to be getting any of that glass.
It's all about that glass.
Looks like the athletes are going over the last-minute rules for the course. And it's really exciting to see Justin Sweeney return again. Huge favorite in the speed competition. Funny story, he came all the way from Seattle, Washington for the qualifiers, then drove back so he could study for a final, and he's back here this morning again today.
Again, since you brought it up, Justin Sweeney, I've had the ability to see him in some of his speed courses in Seattle. Very high emphasis on foot placement, so that's something that you can really enjoy when you're watching his run. Because he makes those calculated moves, he makes everything like look really smooth. I'm not sure what his time's going to be, but very big strides, very confident guy, very good at speed runs.
One of the things I love about Justin is that he is a really ground up, from scratch, built to be a parkour athlete. He had zero athletic experience before coming to the Parkour Visions gym in Seattle, Washington. And he's a great example of how you can go from having absolutely no background in any athletics to being a professional athlete in the sport. If you put yourself to work, if you're doing the training, he does a ton of conditioning with them. He has a variable training program, very unique style of training at the Parkour Vision gym that's awesome to see.
You just gotta make sure you gotta have that guidance, do your research, do your homework, and put in the hours.
Absolutely. I think that we've been seeing coaching being one of the biggest things that's changing this game today, because we're at a level now where there's athletes that have moved on into that position. They have their own experience. You know, people like the staff here at the Origins Parkour facility, or the Tempest Gym, Apex, Visions, where they're having that experience of being there themselves, and now they can pass that knowledge on to a whole new generation of professional freerunning parkour athletes. They're doing amazing things.
And it's not just in the sport. Anyone who's paying attention to just sports learning and sports coaching in general, we have access to more, you know, medical and bio information, and just all that research can go into applying it into your sport. So all these coaches, if you're paying attention, if you're finding your coaches out there, you can learn faster and be better, like in a way that David Bell would never have imagined.
Well, I definitely think this sport has developed from where it started, but competitions like this really prove to me how positive the change has been. We're only seeing people taking those fundamental movements, those ideas of where the sport comes from, and developing them, and really pushing the limits of what the human body can do. And one of the cool things about parkour and freerunning is how much it draws from other sports. You're seeing influences from track and field, you're seeing it from gymnastics, you're seeing it from breakdance, from rock climbing. All those things, they're basically just more fundamentals that can build a stronger base from a more exciting future.
And on top of that, the next generation, who knows what we're going to see.
I feel like every year I show up here and I am just blown away by the level of talent, and I think the competitions are going to continue to grow, to start revealing more and more as we start seeing things that we never imagined.
And what you were saying earlier about how the spirit of parkour comes through in a positive manner, I don't know, look no further in a really relevant example, Darryl Stingley. Just so happy to be here, so glad to be included in a group of people that are so good at their sport. And it's like, hey, you know what? You're on this level. You're here. Like, you're here to demonstrate. We're getting ready, nice and close.
Darryl getting himself composed. He's about to step into that gate. Laser timer is set up on top of the box, so as soon as he crosses that line, that timer is going to kick off. See all the athletes making their way to the top.
Everyone's ready to go. That's another common trait among these pro athletes. Everyone's just itching to get out the gate. No one's waiting around. It's so fun to watch. These guys are like, hey, I don't know when the whistle is, just let me go. I want to get the hugest time. Hey guys.
But as you're jumping down to the first block,
Dillon about to step into the box, getting himself ready. You can see that intensity in their movements. I feel like you can tell which athletes are really comfortable right now, which ones are amped up and ready to go. I think some of the athletes that did the skills in the competition are feeling more warm, they're feeling ready, they're already in the competition mode. Some people like Dillon, like Jesse, they're going to have to get to the end of this. Harder on athletes like Justin Sweeney that had to drive in this morning.
One more time, make some noise! Excellent. Up first, we have Dillon Gates and Gareth on deck. You know what's going to starting? He is starting.
Stepping into the box.
We're starting at that 12-foot tower.
All right, Dillon, are you ready?
I know he struggled with this first jump in the last
And
three.
start!
See, hits it here. Steps, choosing to go
Nice
to the side. Line up those precisions, having to set himself
Down the box to check. Not shake.
Oh, using the window sill for a little tap. Really quick. So far, the fastest time on the course. We'll see if it holds up.
There's some of that smoothness that you were talking about earlier, though, from Dillon. A lot more controlled than his qualifying runs, I think.
Yeah, well, I definitely think he took the time to practice that. He knew he was only competing in this one event. Just focus on getting smooth on those runs. Well, here's Gareth. He's representing Team Gorilla Hops. Relatively new team. Not necessarily for their control, but for their explosive power and really their willingness to take a hearty, meaty drop.
And that's the thing. They really want to get Gorilla Hops on the map, and I think this is a really good step. Gareth is showing up here. Oh, going far.
Not slowing down too much.
Overshot the rail. Oh, slip on the ascent. There is a tricky gap between that mezzanine and the jungle drum railing. Stuck that knee in there.
You guys at home are just about to see Gareth take off on that run. Really, I think his experience level is playing into how he's taking this. He's going for it hard, but going big is not always the way to get the best time in the speed course.
You gotta keep that composure. I really wish the people at home could see how big this weird diagonal tower jump is. Like, it's not something for the weak-hearted or feeble-minded.
Joey, are you ready? Joey Adrian getting ready for that big jump, taking it over to the side, having to drop down.
For the low line. Let's hope he gets good on that climb up. Excellent.
Excellent. I think he knows that jump is going to be big, even though he could make it possibly to a grade, probably easily to a front support. He chose to go for that side jump because he knew all he had to do was get past that flag. It's going to be a lot faster for him overall. He may not come through with the top time, but it's definitely a solid.
He may also be trying to count on those later courses.
Absolutely. Each of these courses is going to favor different types of movement, different types of athletes, and different sizes.
As well as different types of obstacles that are going in front.
Please do not cross the gate again. Dante, are you ready?
You can see these guys are starting as far back as possible. They want to get that acceleration going before they trip that timer. Precision that first tower. And then we're just going to see some rail running here.
Almost losing on the rail. Had that very clean crew right at the beginning. Kind of lost some control on the rails. But still a good time overall.
Main focus on here, though. Time doesn't lie. All that matters is the time that ends on those laser timers. Like, we're not looking for smooth. We're not looking for anything. Like, just get to that other gate fast and don't miss a checkpoint.
Dante with 7 seconds and 12 milliseconds.
That really was
great work.
Very good run.
Up next, we have Darryl Stingley and Gareth Norvell on deck. Darryl's coming out of Los Angeles, California from Memphis Rerunning. Darryl, are you ready? And
Something to be considered too, though, is that you only get one attempt on this speed run, so the pressure really is on these athletes. Oh, had to take the low line. And a slow trip on the laser. Didn't quite make it on the way up. He had to do that monkey hop.
Darryl choosing to go on that pylon can be faster, but use your balance. There's no way to make that up. You've got to transfer that low line right away. It's not what he was practicing, so it's not going to be as fast as his original choice.
So Jared Davis, let's see if he has that hometown advantage. He's comfortable with these obstacles. And so far, he seems to be doing pretty well, going for those bigger strides. Same leg, here's the laser.
Davis. Coming through with a great run. It looks like he slipped up a little bit on the rails, but he's able to pull off a good time overall. Let's see how it weighs up against everybody else who had a little bit cleaner time on the rails.
And that's a big thing, is if you're able to transfer and flow through it. If it's your last step, just reach for that laser timer. Like, that's all you really need. We don't need to see the cleanest stride. Just don't get hurt and get to the other side. Justin Sweeney, who we were talking about earlier.
Justin, are you ready? And
with huge pre, tons of power. Into those rails.
Confident run.
Absolutely dominating that. I think we're looking at a top time there.
5 seconds, 0.94. On a spread, we're looking anywhere between 7 to 10 seconds here, and he's just clipped under 6.
Over a second faster than the closest competitor, taking out Justin Sweeney and Dante Grazioli, pushing them into a tied second place. Absolute domination from Justin Sweeney. This is the kind of stuff that we love to see from him. That confidence, that power. You know, he's suffered from a lot of injuries the last few years, but he's actually really healthy. I was just talking to him. He's feeling good. Great pre from Kent Johns across that rail.
Taking the outside rail on that last step. He wants to keep pushing forward.
Yeah, he will keep his chest in front of him. Really great footwork. Kept his chest right over himself. Super nice.
See your buddy Jesse LaFlair going up.
Yeah. Jesse's all about this speed. You can see him coming right to the back edge of that box. I know he's worried about that turn on the big box, but I think it's going to come down to what he decides to do on the rails and how he handles it.
And start.
Whoa.
Sliding on the landing, choosing to go the low route.
Once again, that's a similar route than what he did in the qualifiers. Straight down to the box and then up again. Very confident run. Just unfortunately almost shorted it on that first jump.
Next up, we have Brandon Douglas from Denver, Colorado, running Apex Movement. And on deck, we have Dillon Gates, also from Denver, Colorado.
So last year's top time, Brandon Douglas.
Brandon, are you ready?
Let's see how he fares this year. Very, very fast. Run, just blazing over those rails.
Looks like great landing on that first jump. Got himself into place.
The fastest time so far, Brandon with a 5.07.
Outstanding.
We definitely expected the top 10. Just absolutely crushing it on those rails. Let's see what Dillon has here.
Dillon enjoying the
Dillon, are
fun.
you ready?
You know the rail strides and precision strides. That's his wheelhouse. Easily
Dillon really making those
Right,
huge
right.
strides. He's really got it after Brandon.
I think he might be under 5 seconds on that.
Yeah, I think so too. Like keeping those tight, like not too much airtime on those bounds, like keeping it tight. It's like he's falling forward on those rails. The crowd goes nuts. His time, 4.87 to Brandon's 5.07. We're seeing some unbelievable stuff here. There's a bit of pressure on Mich.
All right, let's see if Mich can step up to match that.
High jump, confident, very confident, very competitive time. Not quite the same run running, but fast, like unbelievably fast. So for time,
Clocking in at 4.93.
he's boxing at 4.93, just above Dillon Baker at 4.87.
So that puts Dillon in first, Mich in second place, and I think that leaves Brandon Douglas in third with that 5.07.
And like I was saying, this is on the hundredths of seconds between Mich and Dillon. We're taking like that's 600ths of a second. Sorry.
So all three courses are going to be averaged out together. So with our top three as Dillon, Mich, and Brandon, a lot can change in the next two runs because it's only a fraction of a second that's separating every one of these guys.
But once again, you only get one run on each of these courses.
It's a lot of pressure on each one, and it gives a lot of pressure on each athlete to focus on, do they play it safe or do they push it to try to get that speed?
I think on the speed course, really, if you think you can make it, you have to go for it. There's no other runs. officials changing the flags. We're going to see more than one checkpoint now.
Yeah, I really like this medium length course. It's an opportunity for some of the athletes that weren't as comfortable in those rail strides to really open it up on a wider run floor. Still a lot of turnarounds, but it's definitely in that sprint range. You know, we're seeing a lot of people in that 12 to 15 second range, but I'm thinking for these, we might see people getting to that 10-second range on this run.
Yeah, after they had a little more practice, they have been given some time to try out parts of the courses they were having trouble with. And I think we're going to see some really, really great stuff.
So athletes didn't have a chance to practice the whole course again after the qualifiers, but they were definitely working on individual elements.
Yes.
They scaled it out, they figured out those jumps, and they're really, I think, focusing on those turnarounds. That's one of the biggest points that people are making or bringing those fractions second up on their redirects. How are you getting your momentum going? And that's why you saw Dillon and Mich turning that big breathe that they have easily, that's a struggle for a lot of other athletes, into a plyo that they can carry their momentum straight out of and into those rails that they're super confident on.
Again, all these little decisions that add up. Foot positioning. Hey, which way are you choosing to put your right foot down here, your left foot down there, so that you can do the next move coming out ahead. There's a lot of things to think about. And you got to keep your cool because, as we've seen, the most relaxed runs tend to get the better times.
I'm definitely interested to see how athletes take this next course because being the middle of the course out of the three of these, they have to decide, is this the one that they're going to push it on? Or do they try to play it safe, get a good time, and take it all out in the final course? They know that they're going to have the most buffer room to make up any mistakes that they have.
Curious what the officiator, Tyson, who's sitting with the judges, what they're clearing up.
Really, at the end of the day, there's a lot of rules here to try and make sure things are as fair as possible, but there's a lot of open-endedness in this competition. So there's always questions that athletes have. You know, they want to make sure things are fair, they want to make sure things are safe. But overall, I've had a lot of compliments from all the athletes about this competition, about how exciting it is to be running this style of courses, to have this style of variety. And really, I think it comes down to the type of athletes that it's interesting. You know, it's getting the excitement from a whole bunch of different type of people that everyone wants to see.
If you are wondering what these flags indicate, a red flag means the athlete must pass to the left side of that flag. A yellow flag means the athlete.
So once more to reiterate, the only way to get disqualified from a speed course is if you completely miss a checkpoint. Yellow flag means you have to have your left shoulder facing it. Means you have to pass to the right of that flag. Red flag means you have to have your right shoulder facing it, which means you have to pass on the left side of that flag. And the only other restrictions are you got to hit both lasers at the start and end of that course.
One of the things that I love most about this course is some of the tiny ledges right up against the walls that the athletes have to deal with. There's a very fast turnaround. They're starting low, having to get up high, they come back down and around. It's a ton of direction changes with a really strong photo finish line right down in front of the audience. It's going to be really exciting when I watch.
Definitely. The level of proficiency, again, I keep saying again and again, these athletes are next level. You're about to see how comfortably they're about to move in these very weird spaces, like doing some very awkward challenges and having to try to get a better time. This is something that you need to watch this again and again if you're a parkour athlete watching at home. Something to look forward to. Say, hey, is this something I could do at half speed? I don't even know.
Absolutely.
Some unique stuff going on here.
Everything changes once you start adding that speed to it. You know, moves become more difficult at higher speeds, and you know you have to really focus to be precise, to be controlled. And you know, we're asking these athletes to do this over and over again to just display that consistency in this movement. I think coming into this next round, I saw one of the best runs of the night coming from Jesse LaFlair, but I also know that during warm-ups, he took a hard fall, slipping on the rails, trying to take a really unique route. That cost him a little bit with that slip-up. He said he's all right, bothered his wrist a little bit, but he seems to be pushing through it fine so far.
I noticed that earlier he had it wrapped up. Is that a style choice, or was that just for him?
Free running fashion always plays a little bit into it. He actually told me that one of the reasons he started wearing skinny jeans while competing is to show that he's not wearing any pads underneath those pants.
After that recent controversy from about a year ago or so, yeah. Interesting decision.
That was tough. It was tough for him after Red Bull Art of Motion. You know, Jesse has a very specific style in his free running. He's using his shins, he's using his knees and ankles in ways that most people aren't comfortable with. And he was unaware, as really everybody was, that pads were going to encourage the to duck points off their score. So he lost points on wearing that. Now he's showing full on.
That's a really honorable thing for him to do. Just like he had every reason, it seems, to sort of do that, and then now he's taking the high road and saying, hey, I'm going to keep doing this style and I'm not going to wear the pads.
All right, so all you guys watching at home or in the chat room, in a little bit, we're going to be trying to bring up some of these athletes to answer questions live. So if you guys have a favorite athlete that you want to see up here, someone that's at the competition, let us know. We'll bring them up here. You can ask them your questions live.
Oh, we already have our
Dillon
first.
Gates out of the gate, coming up, using that wall run technique, dropping down.
So close on that edge, basically.
Striding off the rails to a little pre, coming to the box, right down. Really smooth. Love how he redirected coming up on that wall run. Excellent to see. Looked like he slowed down a little bit on those rails. I know he took a slip up there during the qualifiers. I think he was trying to be a little bit conservative.
Again, there's so many little things that can happen that can change your race. Something that you do well here. Like he was so close on the front edge right in front of us. He almost seemed to fall off that main platform. And yeah.
All right, here comes Gareth coming over the block, really charging, popping up, and tons of explosive power, really stomping through each step though. It makes it harder to take those really precise steps. But he is charging through the whole course. Very aggressive style.
Really curious what that time is. So Dillon Gates had 12.94 on his first run there. 14.07 for Gareth Norvell. Just slightly below.
Yeah, both very decent times. I think they could improve on it if they had another chance, especially coming over those rails. Like I said, that turnaround is one of the hardest parts of this course.
Joey, are you ready?
Right, Joey.
And start.
Extremely fast.
Very powerful.
Very smooth too. You can see how he's staying low to prime for those jumps. Amazing.
Really great jump.
Very fast transition on that down call on that roll.
I can't wait to see the time on that.
Joey getting the score of 12 seconds and 57.
12.57, the fastest time so far. I actually thought it was going to be a lot faster.
I thought it would be a little lower as well.
I think one of the most deceptive things about Joey is for his size and stature, he is moving extremely fast. His turnover on each step is really quick, but he's not covering as much ground as some of the taller athletes here.
Again, I was also impressed by that down Kong and how fast that roll was. Normally, I don't think you have much of a choice.
Here comes Dante, struggling a little bit with that wall run up. Looks like he didn't get his footing right.
It's a very fast, just barely makes that flag. Very fast on the descent.
Nice.
Had to rechange that direction.
Yeah, using that roll to redirect. Very fast coming off the wall, but had to redirect. Watching the replay.
I was saying earlier, very tough usually. When you get across the finish line, you want to accelerate through it as much as possible, but since there's a down Kong or some kind of descent involved, there isn't really much of a choice. You have to roll out of it. So it depends on how good are you with your rolls. Darryl Stingley coming out of the gate very fast. Very confident on this ascent, making this little...
Dropping down.
Made a decision to go for the rails instead of clearing straight over.
It does
Shorts it. He has to make that up and try to make his time. Lost a good second and a half there.
Yeah. He's not going to be happy about that.
That will count to his time, unfortunately. Decent recovery, but unfortunately.
Check out the video again. Yeah, really great start. Coming out of the gate so fast. Right up to that wall. Just looked like he might change his mind on his rails. Keep it on the side and slow down there. And
Jared, are you ready?
Straight from precision line.
And start!
That was one of those risks you were talking about earlier. Like, does he go for the big thing that he really wants? Here's a comfortable stride from Jared Davis coming up over the A-bomb box. He looks very clean up from there.
Super clean run from Jared. Again, with taller athletes like Jared, like Mich, they're able to cover a ton of ground. But still not able to break into that top three.
Jared Davis with 13.68. In fourth position.
Justin, are you ready?
Justin Sweeney.
And start!
Using that rail and grabbing on to try to swing over it. He's going for the straight wall run, having confidence in his climb-ups. He's clearing over this gap. Oh, doesn't quite make the jump. And just jumping straight down for the impact.
Coming across the line at 12.74.
Game changer, 12.74. Justin Sweeney slides into second place.
Just barely in the second place. I think he could have had a first place run if he had gotten the jump down.
He's up by, yeah.
Ken, are you ready? And start!
Coming on the block now. Super fast.
Had to reposition on that.
Yeah, that's definitely going to cost him.
Up. Nice stride coming out.
I think it looked like his set on that jump is just not quite where he wanted it to be. Overall, very clean run. But 12.98, leaving him in fifth place.
You can see in that shake of his head, like he had some minor recalculations to make that he didn't want to.
Jesse LaFlair, big favorite here to most subscribed athlete on YouTube right now. Over 100,000 followers. He said, ooh, takes a little hard landing there.
I wonder if he suffered through anything. Oh no.
Jesse's definitely not going to be happy with that run. He had his steps worked out. It looks like he just stumbled on one of the mats over by the foam pit. And he didn't get his set for that jump. I know he's going to be upset about that. 13.42, not a great time for Jesse LaFlair. Shaking it off. What are you going to do?
Round of applause for his pancakes, though. Really took quite a lot in that round. There's at least 3 big hits.
Here comes Brandon Douglas. Some of the lightest movements we've seen. Always just floating through stuff.
Again, smart decision from the last 2 athletes to take that side on the climb up. There is no such honor when time's on the stake. You want to use that beam to help you get up.
See, as he comes up over this wall, getting himself into place, and he stays low. Look, his chest stays up the whole time. Moving into first place, well deserved for that amazing run, super quick.
That may have been the decision maker that changed, keeping his chest low, trying to continue on that line that he made.
One of the American favorites, Dylan Baker, super strong so far. Let's see how he pulls out here in this run.
I'm expecting the ground to shake.
All I know is I think he's going to have to take this jump to front support just because of his wrists. He doesn't have that ability to do climb-ups as easily, so using the jump is probably going to make it easier for him.
Already standing oh shit on his set. Really trying to make it up on the latter part of the course, doing very well. But yeah, definitely something on him. The approach to that cat that he didn't like.
Slipping out on that jump to front support. We need a check to the DJ booth, please. Looks Looks like they're going to review his time. Might have missed one of those, that final laser gate at the end just because of that jump down. We'll see what they have to say about that. Overall, I just felt like his first jump up to the wall was off, and that threw him off the whole thing, blazing across the top here. But I know he had a bigger stride lined up for that rail area, and he just didn't have his game on point for that run. I think it's still going to be a solid time for him. I don't know if he's going to be able to beat Brandon's time, but as long as he stays in the top 3 for this, I think he'll be in a good position.
Unfortunately, I think there was some technical insult to injury. Not your ideal run, and they don't have a lockdown time for that. They may have to review the footage to get his time.
Here goes Mich. Very quick.
Trying to keep low as well, actually. You can see a big guy just keep tight on that ascent. Oh, misses it, trying to get... And he's trying to get his leg loaded for that stride right away and just missed it.
Super fast on the takeoff. Getting himself in position.
Just a reminder, all of our times are set by the
just didn't have the power to make it. Like I said, that turnaround was one of the trickiest parts of this course, and you can see how many great athletes it's definitely been able to stop in just this one.
Was course number 2 of our speed challenge. Give it up for our athletes. I can't hear your report for you.
Really upset with that last run. Looks like they're going to go in and try to work out that timing.
Our assistant set up the next speed challenge. Feel free to pick up some of the merchandise you have at the front desk. Get your skills, speed style.
It's an interesting choice for Mich again. I'm not sure if it was insufficient power on that turnaround for that left checkpoint. I think he really wanted that single stride on the box again. And he was trying to get that leg loaded so that he could jump straight to that main platform, and he just shorted it. He just could not.
I think it just shows you, even for these top level athletes, on a jump that they can easily handle, when you're trying to be fast, when you're trying to put together a lot of different moves at once, even something as small as a jump like that,
stuff gets ahead of you, yeah.
You gotta stay in that zone, you gotta stay focused, and it's always going to be difficult when you've got the pressure of having to perform on command. And I think a lot of athletes are going to be trying to use this last course now to redeem themselves. Dillon and Mich both struggling in their runs. Those are our top 2 finishers.
That's an upset, definitely. So it really will matter in terms of the scaling. We are seeing some upsets. Mich, because of that stumble, ended up ranking 7th out of 13 here.
Could definitely help athletes like Adrian, who finished 9th in the first one, but 2nd as of right now in the second one. That's averaging out to a much better place. If he can go on the 3rd course, Joey has a chance of winning an event that nobody thought he was going to end up placing in.
That was a very excellent time, 12.5 seconds, stays in 2nd place, Joey Adrian. Beating out Justin Sweeney's run.
Yeah.
12.74, not very much. Brandon Douglas just grabbing that spot, 12.3 for first in course number 2.
Always great to see Brandon. I met him when we competed on Ninja Warrior together, competing at the Seattle Invitational, and here in Vancouver together. I love watching him run. He's really only been training for about 4 years, but he's 100% dedicated to just being explosive, being light. I know he switched his diet, he switched his training program. He just wants to be a competitive athlete. He wants to be up against these guys who've been training for 6, 7, 8, even 13 years. Still waiting.
Very unique athlete.
Yeah, still waiting on that score for Dylan Baker. I'm interested to know how much that slip up on the first jump of the wall is going to affect him. When we saw Mich drop all the way down, probably top all the way up again. Still a decent time, but definitely not going to be enough to get him in a good score on that second course. He's going to have a lot of ground to cover on the 3rd one.
A lot of surprising results here. Yeah, you had some slip-ups that were not expected, and that's just what happens, especially when you only get one run on each of these courses. Things can change drastically, and you may have results that you did not expect. A lot of these crowd favorites have to make it up in course number 3.
Yeah, that's one of the things that's great about a competition is that anything can happen. And especially with this course they're setting up right now, I foresee some really exciting stuff. Now, this is the longest course by far. We were seeing the best times coming in around 20 seconds during qualifiers. I'm certain we're going to see some people break that 20-second mark today. But it's a lot of ground to cover. It's a lot of different levels. There's a lot of turnarounds, and there's some really tiny spaces that are going to put people like Mich and Dillon at a disadvantage.
That's a problem-solving challenge. And I'm not sure if you guys can see from here. There's a tiny window they have to go through from that center section between the main platform and the towers. They have to go through the large window from this side, what you may see from your left side here right now. And there's a smaller window, and it butts right up against that A-bomb box. And there's not a lot of room to move. You're going to see a lot of people just sort of action heroing it through, just trying to burst through, bounce on that box, and then cross the last 2 walls there to make it to that finish line.
Here's Dillon Gates' score. 13.8.
So he's been awarded 13.8.
That's going to leave him in one of the last spots. I think he's in 9th place for this course too. Definitely not going to be happy about that run.
Support our cause, buy a shirt, look awesome while you train. Look awesome if you don't train. Just look awesome. Or just bark.
Big thanks to everyone at home who's watching with us on the live stream. I know we have people from all around the world. Shout out where you're coming from, because we'd love to hear where people are watching this from right now.
Yeah, definitely. We're broadcasting live from Vancouver, BC, Canada. It's beautiful out here.
Yeah.
Weather's really nice, still seeing the sunshine.
Yeah, well, it's been really great to spend some time with the athletes around the city. You know, yesterday we tried to take a break from training for a little bit, which is not something you usually get to do at something like a jam where people want to train every day. But when people have to take it easy for a day, it's cool to go out, have a meal with everybody, go out and talk, just really get to spend some time with some of these amazing athletes from around the world who don't get to spend a lot of time together.
And that's another credit to the format of the race. We had qualifiers on Friday, and it was really important to the organizers that if they want to be fair for the athletes on Sunday, they want to give them a rest day. So on Saturday, they had the Fan Expo. Everybody came in for the meet and greet, took photos, and hung out and bought t-shirts from their favorite athletes. And the athletes got a rest day, and they got to be able to roll out for a full 24 hours before they can do their runs tonight.
Yeah, I think it's a really great opportunity for people to start interacting with the people that they're seeing in videos. You know, you're watching these competitions all around the globe, and you know, when they come into your town, a lot of times I think it's intimidating to see some of these amazing athletes that you only see on YouTube or in commercials and movies and stuff. But they're just real people, and you know, they started just like you, training as hard as they could, trying to put up videos, trying to get noticed, and now you know, with hard work, dedication, they're where. You know, they're the ones bringing the sport to the next level.
Definitely, these guys are changing the industry, and it's really fun to see. Like, these are all professional athletes, and this is what this competition brings to light: is that these guys are taking it to the next level. They're not messing around. They're not just doing it for the views or for the fame. This is real parkour. That, like, if they were not any better than they are, they wouldn't be here.
No, I think one of my favorite things about coming to these events like this is that it gives athletes really a goal. You know, we have a lot of open-ended training going on. You know, when I started, it was just about trying to learn stuff and make up new moves, try new things. But you know, if you look at the best athletes in the world, if you're looking at the Darryl Juniors, the LaFlair James, and you know, like people that are getting millions of dollars, they're getting the support of sport, sponsors, coaches and managers and trainers. They're getting a lot of that, and with events like this, you're starting to see the opportunity for athletes like that to come around. That's how you're going to see these sports getting better. That's how you see the level of athletes go higher, and really the capabilities of what people can do.
And they want to be with their peers. They want to see, just like in UFC, hey, I'm going for that title fight. These guys want to be racing next to these top athletes and showing them that they're just like them. They can be there. They can tangle with them. And it's really fun seeing these guys interact. And you can see them interacting right now. There's no drama. they're all having fun. They're all trying to see how they can make each other better because they know they're at the top. And again, there's certain kinds of athletes, they need it. They need that kind of a competitive atmosphere. It's not for everyone. It's for those guys that want to be the best. And to have this as a goal to work towards, I think it's really good for them.
No, I absolutely agree. These guys are not coming in here building brutal rivalries or anything. You know, everyone is hanging out together at the end of the night. We're all going to the after party together Thursday.
We'll make it.
Okay. Your place.
The hugest.
No, but you know, everybody's hanging out together after this. You know, they're just over there discussing their runs. You know, I saw Darryl and Kent Johns looking at the speed course together, trying to figure out which way worked, trying to give each other tips and help out. Mich talking to Dillon, saying, hey, I think you had that step better than I did. Dillon saying, I think your landing was better than mine. I think you deserve these points. So it's great to see that these athletes are more interested in the sport itself than even their own level. They want to see what is the best thing that a human can do, not just themselves. And they just are in a very amazing position to be creating that next level movement.
And you can even see in the middle of a speed run, there was Mich giving tips away. He's like, oh, hello, Darryl, I was seeing what you were doing there. This could really make it better. It's just, it's a lot of fun seeing people listening. Coming through a little bit more setup, even more checkpoints coming up for this last speed course.
Sorry, checking in with our live stream chat. It seems like a lot of people are really concerned with Jesse LaFlair's pants. This is really surprising to me. But if you want to know more about why he wears the pants, he told me, as we explained earlier, that after a Red Bull Arm motion, he got some flack for wearing shin pads to do some of his more unique tricks. He trains without them all the time. He throws down with them. He doesn't need them. He wears the jeans nice and tight so people can see. He's got nothing on underneath him. He's got nothing to hide. But in case you didn't figure it out yourself, of course they're stretchy enough so that he can go as far as he needs to on any of those strides.
Any kind of comment like that really just sort of digs into Jesse's integrity, or any of these athletes. Hey, why would you wear that? I'm pretty sure these guys want to be competing at the top level. They wouldn't be making decisions that would compromise that in any way or form.
I think overall, each of these athletes does have their own style, both in their clothing and in the way that they move. And each person is building their own look. You know, when I look at the way that someone like Mich trains, he approaches it like an athlete. You know, interviewing him yesterday, he focuses training like he's going to compete at the Olympics, like you were saying earlier. He wants to have the most explosive takeoffs. He wants to have the fastest starts. His acceleration is on point. When you're looking at an athlete like Jesse LaFlair, however, he's doing all the different events. He wants to have style. He wants to have speed. He's trying to do both. He's got a variable training. But that can also affect you in an event like this where there is a lot of variety, where you have to adapt. It can end up making a big difference. So that's why I think you see these athletes all developing their own way of preparing themselves.
And then you always have that X factor when things don't always go the way you expect, and all these upsets are always happening. So that's what's great about following sports parkour. So. If anyone's curious, you haven't figured out where we are yet, sitting up in the mountains by the big friendly cameraman to our right. We're gonna wave. Not sure we can be seen, but we're having a good time up here.
Yeah, the Origins facility, a really great opportunity for athletes to not only train, but for events like this too. It's supposed to be raining all weekend. You know, we're very thankful to have great weather, but you know, having gone to a bunch of competitions, especially with huge letdown in Sweden. I went there to cover the challenge. Beautiful location, this very scenic castle, but rained out in the competition. They had to shorten it down, couldn't do the full runs. Still, athletes going down, but having a facility like this, so great for the athletes. It's so great for this sport, and really it's one of the reasons why we love having the support of all you guys viewing at home and all the people who come out to the gym.
And even from an organizational athlete standpoint, there's no compromises made here. You've got the parkour happening on one side and enough open space for the audience to be here and not feel like they're cramped, or for the athletes to feel like they might actually run into anyone in the audience. It's all totally safe. There's enough room. Everyone's here to have a good time. I'm looking forward to the next course and the next event.
Yeah, the speed course moving along really well. This last one definitely a lot longer to set up. It's very extensive. There's a lot of opportunities to both make mistakes but also recover from them. So it's showing a different type of skill. And you could even see the difference between runs, someone like Joey Adrian, like we mentioned before, who's able to completely turn around his position, moving from 9th to 2nd. Amazing run. That's going to average out right in the middle. This last course is going to be the deciding factor for this. Our top 2 athletes from the first course dropping down into almost the bottom 2 positions. We'll see how they are able to pull it through, see if they can get back into a podium position. But really, right now, this field is wide open.
Yeah, a lot of changes taking place. Normally, you feel like, certain scores are settling down. It's just between who's going to be first and second. Right now, it could be anything. Anyone else watching at home, take this as inspiration, make your own little speed courses and just sort of get used to that element of training. Not too much complexity. Hey, I gotta head from here to there. Get working on your cardio, doing a course that may be a little bit longer than 10 seconds. You'd be amazing at how fast you get gassed out.
I think it is really interesting to see, this sport has started to develop in a place where people are focusing on very specific things, individual precisions, one-off moves. But a lot of times I think athletes forget to continue to train those basics and linking them together and using those moves. Not just building the ability to do a single one, but making an actual run and pushing to see how fast you can go.
And again, you can see about where it counts for efficiency. Where these guys make it look easy is because they have efficiency. They're doing the simple basic stuff like strides, bounds, and linking them together smoothly in ways that it counts. You gotta be strong enough, you gotta be experienced enough, and you gotta be able to spot those big jumps like that opening one from the first course. That huge tower jump on a diagonal, like, that's that next level stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
It boils down to the basics.
And overall, I think it's so hard to really visualize how impressive the stuff that these guys are doing. Even doing the basics, just running and jumping, the way they have to connect it, the tiny differences in their foot placement, and how they have to redirect themselves, the scope of it is just so hard to translate. And we're doing our best to try and explain the difference between these things, because it's hard to see even on the live stream video, but live, it is unreal to watch.
I'm really happy to have the opportunity to be here.
Get all of our athletes in their starting position. We will be starting the third course with Dillon Gates and then Gareth Norvell on deck.
Fantastic angle we have on the start there. We got that golden hour on Dillon Gates.
Alright, the sun is starting to set outside. You can see that light hitting Dillon. He's getting ready for his first run. He's going to kick off his third final speed course. I'm really excited to see how it plays out. He had a great run in that last round. Only came in fifth, but he was able to push his way far ahead of where it was before.
Audience, if you take a look above the front entrance of the gym, we have Dillon in the starting gate. Dillon from San Antonio, Texas. Give it up for
So Dillon, like we said before, focusing on that super smooth style. Let's see how he chooses to make his way through this.
To be clear, these checkpoints are numbered. They only apply in a certain order. Here we go. We're seeing him
digging hard.
take that. He can keep that lashing tight. Oh, very well done.
Super tricky angle to hit. Ooh. Taking a hard fall. Just back up though. Through the window.
Again, Dillon works really well with adaptation on terms of when things go wrong.
On the video now, I can see
I think his time is
great start. Super clean lache on the bar. Great starts, but just overshot that precision. Luckily, his training came into play, got himself in position, slipped up again on that underbar, but he came through the window really quick, finished that run out with a solid ball.
Now, I'm not sure if you guys can see that. In between, right in front of us, there's a tiny little ledge where Dillon took that step. Very, very tricky step. It's like basically a 2x4 nailed it on the side of the wall, so you have to precision that onto the beam.
Alright, let's see if Gareth sticks to his real hop style with a big drop, taking that little vault down, blazing through the run. Vault up, having to slow down on that turn, catching that lache well.
There we go again. Everybody's here representing on that jump.
Nice. Oh, loses his balance just a little bit. Gonna have to make it up on that window pass. No fear from that.
And the show.
Watching that.
Gareth with 22.41.
Comes in, had to stutter on that jump a little bit. Was able to recover. Alright, Adrian. Definitely want to see what he's going to do here. Training in Revolution Parkour, representing Team Flight in Portland, Oregon.
And start!
This is going to be exciting.
Definitely exciting course.
Very well taken on that landing. Oh, sprinting right across, skipping everything so he can go around that lache.
I really want to see what he does on the middle of this.
Does the climb up. Oh, climb straight
fast. I can't even tell a difference in that. Here's where I want to see him make up that difference, coming underneath the middle section. So
I think that maybe passes time. Oh, I wonder if he tripped the timer or if he missed it. I hope he got that one.
Oh, looks like his time came in. 20.39. Easily moving into first place by over 2 seconds above the last two competitors. Alright, Dante representing Apex Movement today on Rogue Squad in Colorado. These guys train on these speed courses all the time. Alright, he's giving a thumbs up. He's ready to go.
And start!
Taking that big drop. His way up the wall. Striding up. Good lache around.
The tough part about that lache is that a lot of people want to stay really tight so that you can keep running. And on the qualifiers, we had a few undershoot, even though it's pretty easy for them, but they wanted to stay tight. This is a very clean run. I can't.
On the video, you can see him dropping down. Good power here, very clean.
Something from Colorado Springs,
So a little bit for that turn so he doesn't overshoot it.
He's in second place at 21.18. Give it up for Dante.
Really quickly to the window.
Up in the starting area, we have Darryl Stingley.
And that dive roll across the finish. Very nice.
Darryl, are you ready?
Darryl, wave runner Stingley up in the blocks. Super fast. He's got a ton of speed. Almost too much coming up that wall. He's coming around
Very
the
good
bar.
going around.
Oh, nice. I'm sure he's happy about that. I know he slipped up there.
So riding on the
oh, too much power. Oh. Oh.
It was really tough going on that single stride.
Alright, looks like Darryl took a heavy fall. really clean stride over the wall. Looks like he was fine.
I think it may have been a delayed reaction on that, because there's a lot of force going on that one leg. Because he takes the single stride and then twists out. It's just a freak. Like, it's one of those things that just happens if you're pivoting out a little too much.
Really awkward landing on it. Looks like they've got the medics in moving now. You know, with all this stuff, there's so much going on, and it's all at the top level of skill. You know, these guys are having to push on every single thing, every jump, every landing. You know, he did the most technically difficult part, and then just on a single drop, his angle is just a little bit off.
A little too much force because he's going really fast. That's the thing. Like sometimes, like that kind of thing could sneak up on you. So we're looking at a knee sprain. And here's hoping there's no tear.
Hopefully this is not a worse injury for Darryl. We're always hoping not to have any major injuries. It looks like he's keeping a good attitude about it. I don't know if he's going to be able to come back in for the style event. You know, all the freestyle athletes have, you know, they've got backups for it, but I know he was really looking forward to compete in that freestyle. That's really one of the things he wanted to be able to come here and prove. He's a well-rounded athlete. But he's been training nonstop. You know, he's had a ton of effort going into this. It's so hard to not just show Adrian going down a little bit of training. The freestyle athletes coming out just to use the space, to use this time to prepare for their event, so that
try to lighten the mood.
Yeah, overall, it's just putting good energy back in the space. You know, it's always tough when we see a competitor go down because at the same time it's a friend. And I think it just seems like right now
these things take time and ice, so I'm going to try to get someone called in for him.
Now the rest of the athletes who still have to compete are starting to look at all their routes that are left. Freestyle event is going to be a huge throwdown. Got a lot of people from a lot of different styles, gymnastics backgrounds, break dancing, martial arts. I think everybody's really excited to see it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take a quick break to ensure the safety of the competitors.
Looks like they're
Give it up one more time for competitors.
the course.
Alright guys, looks like some of our judges want to get in on the action here. Let's see what these judges can do.
Woo!
Awesome, guys, come up on top there. Smooth.
We're just hoping to we can get for live stream.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell.
Remember, guys,
Hey, so
all
guys,
the athletes are feeling every motion you're putting out to them, so give them all your good energy so that they can give you their best.
But we'll do an interview with the
Looks like the judges are preparing to head into the golden pit.
All right, so Frosty Fresh here with Joey Adrian.
How's it going?
Joey, you just finished up your last speed run. How did you feel about those courses?
I loved all of the courses except the first one. It's got a lot of things I don't like. Taking one large jump at the beginning, followed by a full-out sprint rail run. So,
Yeah,
not my thing. But the other two were great.
Yeah, we noticed you made a huge jump from the first course to the second course. First course, you came in about 9th place. It's still really decent because everything was super close. But by course 2, you came in second overall. Right now, you're standing in first. I know we still have about half the competitors left to go. How do you feel like your time is going to stand up?
It's probably gonna go down, but I don't know. I think all the other guys are really fast at this. The one thing that I have an advantage on right here is that hole going through on that underbar. And I didn't do what I planned, but it was still pretty fast, so it worked out. Everybody else has this this stride coming up here, like this little tack, stride off the beam, stride off the where the flag's at. Super fast, and I'm a little bit too scared to do that, so I gotta come all the way up and take a little more time. But I'm happy with it.
Overall, I mean, that top did not seem very slow, and you're able to stay really low to the ground, so you're very good at.
Oh, yeah.
And it seemed really quick overall. How are you feeling going into the style event?
The style will be fun. The style stuff is what I do when I play, right? So I just go out and I play around, and that's the kind of stuff I do. So that's more where I like to be. I feel more natural. Whereas this, they're like, here's the course, do it as fast as you can, which is awesome, and I love that. But the style, I can do literally anything I want and just play around and have a good time doing it. And that's where I really like to be.
Well, I saw you throwing out some really sick stuff over the last couple of days in the gym, here during warm-ups. About how much of your run is pre-planned and how much are you improvising on the spot?
So the pre-plan is any given run, it's like maybe 5 moves in, but it's really, really loose. It's pretty much, I played around on everything, and I know what I can do, and I know what I can't do. And the stuff that I have a hard time with, I like to start with. So if I'm going to start with something big, I'm going to do that. Or if I'm going to plan to do something big, I'll do that first. And then whether I stumble out of that, I'll go one way. If I land it clean, I'll go another way. It's all pretty much whatever way my body pulls me, I'll go to something, and I know what I can do on whatever that is. So that's where I go.
You definitely have a ton of explosive power. It's really great to see that style of it. Like we talked about yesterday, the Rez and Tom, who developed this competition, said you were one of their big influences for the way they developed that style, which really works for freerunning to see that short, explosive movement, really nice, smooth combos. Do you think it's at your disadvantage, though, to have these longer runs where you're having to use more energy per run against, say, someone who's going out and doing one big move?
Yeah, that's definitely something I think about. Like I said, a lot of the time I like to do whatever kind of comes to me. And what ends up happening when I do that is the runs get really long. And aside from being winded, I end up finding myself in a spot where I'm like, oh, I wanted to do this here, so I do that in the same run instead of saving it for a different run. So that's something I've thought about quite a bit, and I'm going to try to keep them a little bit shorter, but I mean, a lot of the times I just kind of go. So we'll see what ends up happening.
So I know a lot of people are really interested in how you train for an event like this. Do you really switch anything up before this, or are you just sticking to like your standard? Really, I don't know what your standard is.
I pretty much stick to my standard. For this event, what I train for is, I heard that the Kong pre, like on the competition part, like was 9 feet and flat boxes. I heard that, and I was like, you have to Kong pre it in order to get a score. If you don't do that, you don't get a score. So I was like, let me set this up. I set it up in my gym, worked on it for about 5 minutes, was like, I can hit the Kong pre. I got the lowest score, I'm okay with that. And that was pretty much all the preparation I did for this. But for me, I like to just go out and pick maybe one little line, something that's challenging for me, add something to the beginning, add something to the end, and then once I'm feeling comfortable with that, I just improv out until, I stop. So that's the way I like to train, and that's kind of what I've been sticking with.
I mean, it definitely works super well. I think your style has really influenced a lot of this competition, and it's great to see, because I think it's just like in our parkour, where we're trying to connect more than just trying to carry those movements through. It's really great to see how you're developing something that is both explosive and fluid at the same time.
Thank you.
Really looking forward to seeing your freestyle run. Awesome job on skill and speed. Let's see what's next for Joey Adrian.
All right, thanks a lot, man.
Dante.
Get out of here. Here you are.
All right. Yeah, I believe it is. All right. So, welcome Dante Grazioli to the North American Parkour Championships live stream. How are you feeling after your speed run?
Too much.
I wasn't expecting much, so I actually did better than I was expecting. Yeah, you absolutely crushed some of those courses. Looking back at the numbers, it seems like your first one was, came in right around the middle and around 7th, but really charging through on that course number 2. Awesome to see. Looks like are they getting started? All right, you guys commentating with me. By the way, amazing job on the skill challenge. Thank you. The strides were really clean, but I did not expect you to be pulling out that front flip, and it came through really nice.
You know, I wasn't really expecting to have to do it either, but you know, after I passed on my second run, and then Dillon and Mich went, I think they both scored higher. I was like, well, I gotta do something else now.
Well, it looks like we're about to have Jared step up to the line, filling in. So, really amazing athlete. I love seeing his style. Actually, you guys have a really similar build. Tall,
He's way taller than me. He's a lot like Mich. He's that big, tall Canadian beast.
Yeah. He's definitely stays like a speed. He's somebody that I feel like I'm always impressed when I'm watching training.
Yeah, for sure.
I really want to see him go down in a competition.
Yeah, I've really started seeing him a lot more recently around, and I think he's just been getting progressed at a really nice rate.
He's still a sleeper on a lot of people. Seeing him at the Tempest Games where he came in 4th overall in the speed was so amazing to see because he's going up against athletes like Dylan Baker, someone that we see consistently placing in competitions. And I think a lot of the world doesn't know about Jared or really the rest of the Canadian scene.
I definitely think Jared's he's gonna explode. He's gonna get so good that like people aren't gonna know where he came from. He's gonna be like the next Mich of Canada. He's really gonna be just coming and killing everybody.
Well, if that became a style that Canadians were known for, I would happily encourage them to start coming out. We need more.
They're like the high elves of North America, man.
Well, one thing that a lot of people don't know, Jared, just a few years ago, really badly injured his back. Had to go through surgery, and it took him out of training right after we had gotten started in the scene. So it's only in the last couple of years that he's been able to return to training. The guys at Origins have given him a really strict training program. He's gotten back into lifting. He's gotten really strong. He's got that hometown love going on right now. Let's see if it helps him out on this run. I'm excited.
Jared, are you ready? All
He's got
right.
hands up. Himself ready. Be interested to see what he chooses to take, especially going through that window at the
That
end.
window is definitely going to be difficult. It's been difficult on just about everybody, but
Except Joey Adrian.
except for Joey. But for him, it's definitely going to be interesting. So we'll
Very
see.
smooth.
Oh, nice strides.
Taking that drop right to Darryl.
Oh, quick.
Yeah, into the window so smooth. And right to the beat. Excellent timing from Jared Davis. Overall, he's very happy about that run.
Smooth too, really smooth.
Jared sitting in second place with 21.17.
Oh, Dante. It looks like he might have just edged you out by over 100th of a second.
It's all right here. Andy.
Yeah, that was a great run from Jared Davis. Well, I'm really excited to see how you do his style. I know it's got to be tough competing in 3 different challenges in one event.
Yeah, you know, I'm just gonna have fun with the style. I'm not getting too competitive about it. I'm already pretty tired. And, like, I think only like me and Joey might be the only ones that we're doing all 3.
Justin, are you ready?
So it's rough, and I'm just kind of just easing out for the day. And I'm just gonna have fun. That's all that matters.
Justin Sweeney, big favorite in the speed section.
Yes, he's so beast.
Aggressive, great control.
Yes. I think he's got good on this window. That was pretty good.
So smooth. You can check out the videos. I really want to see how he tackled that window.
Yeah, that's definitely what's tripping a lot of people up is the window.
Justin taking
I
first
mean,
place with
obviously
19.7.
Joey's had a pretty easy time. Just about everybody else, nobody knows what the best technique is. Like, some people want to dive roll out, but then you're coming into that box, and it's just a little awkward.
Looks like you went for that collar pass.
Nice.
Really smooth, taking the top time, 19.95. I knew I was going to see somebody break that 22nd mark. So excited to see him go down. Kent Jaws.
Kent, he's so clean, so flowy, so precise.
See him pushing it.
Yes.
There you go.
I love how they'll touch hands and it won't slow him down. It's just literally there to help him absorb. A nice dive at the end.
You can see that every time he gets on the course, he gets a little bit better. Yeah. It's so awesome.
He's a robot, man. He's learning and learning as he goes.
He's so calm all the time.
He's always collected. He's so suave.
Yeah. The hair is so majestic. The shorts are so aggressive. I love to see it. Alrighty.
And start.
Alright. Just LaFlair dropping down. He's taking a totally different route.
It looked like it worked out for him.
Yeah.
It was quick.
Using his height to his advantage for that good wall run.
A couple strikes there. Up for the window.
Yeah, this is it. Here's the crux right now. Good move. That was a really great run. A couple of really unique things that run. He's a longer run, but they're trying to use that swing really well.
Technical, yeah. Definitely
Up
have to see
next,
if it
we
pays
have
off.
Brandon Douglas.
Looks like it just barely pushed him into second place. Let's take him overall though.
And start.
Yeah, you can see how he turned on it. Really great.
Oh, here goes Brandon.
One of the favorites here. He took first in the last one.
Oh,
sick!
tackle style points. He's going for the style points and the speed.
Still really light on his feet.
Oh, that underbar. He went straight into it. He didn't even touch the ground. Oh,
Very nice.
yes. Beautiful front flip.
Dante, do you get much chance to train with Brandon in Colorado?
You know, he lives on Boulder, Colorado Springs for about an hour and a half away. Any excuse I can get to Boulder, I'm going to try and go over there, and usually he's around. Unfortunately, he tends to hurt himself on stuff that's not even free running. Like, he hurt his ankle just a couple weeks ago skateboarding. He was just trying kickflips in the parking lot at Apex and hurt his ankle, but luckily it's almost back to 100%. And you can see that with his run.
Yeah, 18.59. Incredible time. Brandon Douglas on Apex movement.
Faster than the Douglas.
Yeah, B-Dog throwing down hard.
Dylan, are you ready?
Goes Dillon.
His teammate from Apex Movement, Brandon Douglas, also representing Merm Life.
That was cool. I think he was quite frustrated about the last one, so I think he's definitely trying to make up for it this time.
Whoa!
Kept telling him he wanted to do that. I was telling him I think the stride might be faster, but I think he just showed us it wasn't. That was really nice. That was solid.
Dillon, who still has a lot of trouble calming, coming through with a great finish over the last two boxes. Yeah, I don't know. He takes the lead from his teammate, Brandon Douglas.
Make up for the second course. Kind of went on autopilot there.
All that's left now, Mich Todorovic. All right, the Quebecois beast.
He's just going to run through it, man. I'm wondering how he's going to deal with the window. I know that's definitely giving him some problems.
During qualifiers, he took that really hard on his back, but looks like he's got a strategy. He takes that drop like it's nothing.
There's the cartoon character climb up. Nice swing.
So set.
There he
A little
goes.
bit too much
Strides, pre.
So fast on those strides. Oh, slipping up just a little bit.
And coming out the window, still fast. Still. That's really nice.
So fast. Oh my goodness. We're like unbelievable time for Mich Todorovic. Coming into first place with 18.03. You guys can see using the wall to vault down, coming up on that flat. He gets so much power, using all of the straightaways to get a ton of speed. Stride actually ended up turning really quickly, fast feet. He's just throwing himself through this and using that calm out super clean. Amazing, amazingness. That's it for our speed runs. They're going to be tallying scores. Dante, thank you so much for joining us here in the live stream booth. Hope you guys at home enjoyed your guest commentary from one and only Dante Grazioli.
Hey guys, Captain Cat is back. What I miss?
You missed some incredible runs from Apex Movement and from the Quebecois monster, Mich Todorovic.
Definitely some very unique moves. Like first off, in order at least, I should say, Jesse LaFlair coming on that descent from the wall in front here, already angling his position so that he's facing the correct direction so that he can continue accelerating through those walls. I thought that was really nicely done. Dillon taking that huge beam precision and continuing on as quickly as he can. That shaved a lot of time off.
Yeah, it's a big risk though, because if he undershoots it, he's losing a ton of momentum. He's having to regenerate everything. I don't know. Mich's run was so smooth. He didn't slow down at all. He took the strides with a lot of power, a lot of confidence. And you know the thing that I love to see from athletes like Mich, all the little details, using that wall to start redirecting himself on the way out from the beginning, having that strong toss here, carrying himself through, like you said, redirecting his body positions, carry his weight into it. You know,
the last little part before he goes into the windows, almost all of that was strided through. That takes a lot of time off. Instead of having to navigate it, you are dominating it. And also, coming out of the qualifiers, he managed to traverse that tiny little window on the exit, coming out way better than before. That was blazing fast. So some really phenomenal runs to top off the end of this event. I would enjoy watching some replays.
Yeah, there's some really amazing, very specific movements. These guys are moving so technically, so fast. Now moving into the speed or the freestyle round, there's going to be a total different type of movement. I'm really excited to see what these athletes have here. Of course, big favorites, Corey DeMeyers and Jesse LaFlair, both of them just dominated with Red Bull Art of Motion. Corey's now the world champion, won Red Bull. Jesse LaFlair coming in third, but also winning best trick with his lunar eclipse of cork off the Santorini archway. Everybody is looking towards Tempest to come back for another strong finish here at the NAPC after last year's second place finish. Two-team all-in. Joey definitely got tons of confidence moving into this. I cannot wait to see how this goes.
Stay tuned, we're going to be back for style in just a second.